One thing I love about Humboldt County, where I live, is that it's so community oriented, so locally oriented. We're way up, isolated up in the redwoods on the northern coast of California. And it has a big hippie influence from the 60s where they weren't just growing smokables, which we're known for, but all kinds of organic gardening and agriculture and alternative food sources, so that today there's a huge, vibrant local food system up here. And every month, once a month, I go to a place called Food for People, which was started in 1979, hippies, of course. It's a nonprofit group. It serves 23 pantries in the area and 15% of the Humboldt population, and it has multiple programs. Now, CalFresh is the government food program with the EBTs here in California, but Food for People is extremely locally organized. 1/3 of the budget is local donations. And the grants that they get are focused on buying local foods. And like I said, there's just tons of farms, ranches, orchards, and specialty foods like different cheeses and like goose eggs and mushrooms, unique, locally grown, mostly organic food. So this food pantry, it gets food from supermarkets and the local health food stores, actually about 300 to 500,000 pounds yearly. And the businesses that donate this food save $40,000 a year on fees for getting rid of waste. And in fact, 52.5 million tons of food is wasted in the U.S. each year, and 10 million tons of crops go unharvested. So here in our local community, one of the big things that this group does that's so amazing is a thing called gleaning, where they get the excess crops, even from local gardeners, not just big agriculture, big farms. There's no big ag up here, big farms. And they get food from unsold farmers markets. They get about 48,000 pounds of produce from Humboldt farms and gardeners every year. And volunteers from the group even go out to the farms and harvest some of the food itself. But more than that, Food for People has contracts with the local farmers where they do even pre-season work, where they go out and they help get the farm going for the year in exchange for the farm growing specific organic produce for this program. They even had too many apples one year, so they partnered with a local cider group to make the excess apples into cider for people. So everything here is like, in this program, is very locally oriented, very community-based, and was built from the bottom up from the community to help the locals. This is the best kind of program that you can do. So once a month, I go and get all of this food. This is from 1 month. And I don't have to be, designated homeless or sign up for a specific program or anything like that. I just show up and say I need food and I get it. And it's a big help to me. I'm not dependent on it, but it is amazing. So you can see how innovative people have been up here, and it's really grassroots. If all the government programs were to fail, people would still be fed up here. So I share this story of Food for People just to show you what's possible and how people can make solutions on the local level in their own communities that are much more resilient and much more accountable and much more community building than any government program could ever be. So, when we're there complaining about, they don't care, or the politicians, or where did the $24 billion go that we spent on homelessness in the last 5 years? We don't know, because there's no accountability there. When we're complaining about that, I think a better solution is to look to ourselves and our own self-determination to come up with local solutions in our own communities. And right here in the Arcata Marsh and Wildlife Sanctuary is another example of this kind of local innovation that's been successful. Now, in Arcata, they were going to build a $25 million sewage treatment plant, and the local hippies again, in the early 70s, came up with an alternative, which was extremely innovative. They based it on a pilot program that had been done at Humboldt State University, where they tried to grow fish in sewage water to see if it would work, and it was kind of successful. So they decided and built this whole plan to restore the wetlands here, which had been all filled in, and there were just remnants of the mills and logging ponds and landfills and raw sewage pouring into the wetlands. So they said, no, we're going to restore all the wetlands. We're going to build these oxidation ponds where all of the wastewater can be broken down naturally by all the microorganisms and everything. And by the time it goes through these series of ponds and over time, it will go out to the bay and the ocean clean. And that's what happened. That's what they accomplished. Not to mention, it's a major bird sanctuary and stopping off point for migrating birds on the Pacific Flyway. Like hundreds of thousands of different birds come here to stop off on their way back and forth between Mexico and Alaska. It's one of the few places they have left, in fact. It also provides recreation for the people. So like the whole system is based on integrating, human needs within the natural environment itself. I mean, we are part of the natural environment. We need to get back to thinking of things that way. So this project serves about 20,000 people, and it's now been copied around the world as a successful innovation for similar communities. And this is the type of thing I'm talking about. These are real on-the-ground solutions that the people themselves developed. And it just goes to show it is possible.